So how do we respond? There's a part of those who manage the political life of our country that say, don't continue to beat up on the opposition when they're at the lowest point, because they're already doing it to themselves. Just let them continue to beat up themselves. There's a part, though, that say there's been fraud here. The doctor was fraudulent, had to be, 100% had to be fraudulent. The other people around him that were propping him up, that were signing documents. Do we need to have a cleansing? Do we need to have some kind of,
No,
no.
no. And the reason I say no is because I saw the damage that was done by the January 6th mob, the January 6th prosecutors who used some sort of financial regulatory law to convict January 6th protesters. Look, a law has been broken, just as January 6th laws were broken. We will break the republic if we go after each and every one of them to the full extent of the law, or to whatever extent we can bend the law, press the law, just as they nearly did with Trump with this Russiagate thing. Just because your opponent used a dirty trick or used many dirty tricks or acted in a way that is not legal does not mean that you should respond in that light. I think it's best to actually air this publicly, to do a full investigation, air it publicly. I think that that's sufficient. I thought that was sufficient at Watergate, by the way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In this case, there's nobody to resign. One thing's for sure, Kamala Harris must never be allowed to run again. I mean, she was part of the fraud.
Sure.
And it should be called out, and there should be an investigation, should be aired out. Many of the advisors, so all the advisors to the president and that clique should not be allowed to hold office again. And how that's done is by some sort of Truth and Reconciliation Committee, some sort of commission. Maybe it's a joint commission of Congress. This is the time to do a joint commission and sit down and say, guys, we got to talk about Russiagate, and we've got to talk about, the state of the presidency and say, this is the point at which we have to reform government, and we have to get rid of these, criminal, these attempts to destroy our opponents criminally. I think, one of the problems is that that justice has become the Department of Justice has become too independent of the president.
Mm.
I think if I look at the great failings of Russiagate and the Mueller investigation and the great failings of the January 6th investigations, I think it is because the Justice Department regards itself as a branch of as a separate branch of government, and there's nothing in the Constitution that permits that. I think this notion that the president is not the executive of the United States, the sole executive of the United States, and that some of these powers can somehow be carved away and be put under some kind of independent I think and including, by the way, the Federal Reserve Bank, I think all of that has to be shorn away, and we have to return to the structure of the
Original Constitution.
not the original, of the Constitution. If we want to change the Constitution, fine, we should amend it. But the Constitution is so clear. This whole idea of the Department of Justice being somewhat independent is a construction, a lawyerly construction, but is not in the Constitution, and it's not in the Constitution for a very good reason.
All right, well said, well said.